for MarineLord. I'm honestly gonna blame it on TheMista because it was his game to lose and he lost it. Seriously, it was exactly that. So MarineLord with a single game advantage right now, guys. And without any further ado, in the north, in the blue, is going to be MarineLord playing his favorite civilization, the French. And in the south, in the red, very nicely colored, by the way. Finally, we're not going to be confused at all by that. By the coloring, right? Of course, white and red being the English colors, it is going to be TheMista playing the English in the red, in the south. Very cool to see this. I'm really happy to see those two players, duke it out with two of my actually like one of the favorite matchups of all time. I think the English obviously being at a slight disadvantage, but at the very same time, if you are properly aggressing your opponent, you can definitely do a lot of things right in this game. So especially the map seems to be all tie. Is it all tie? Oh, no, it's Lipany. All tie has like those two mountain ranges in the sides, right? Lipany has this kind of small mountains in the middle. It's going to be Lipany, of course. And both players are actually just kind of looking to just do the standard opening. Like both, if you're the English, if you're the French, both of you do want to get to castle, to feudal age as soon as you can. And obviously, you want to kind of start executing your own plan. If you're the English, you want to get some spears and archers. With the French, you want to get some archers and knights. And that's probably gonna be the name of the game right now. I'm kind of curious where that it's gonna be 3 villages on food, which is just fine. And the 4th one is gonna go onto food. I think. I don't really think that that the English need the 4th villager anywhere on gold. It'll be very strange. And the French, of course, getting some extra gold. That's kind of the thing to be expected. Why would he rally the 4th villager? Although he's gonna just re-rally this onto their food as we speak. So that's kind of the correct move, of course. 4 villagers in gold? Question mark. In feudal. Hello. That screams professional scouts, doesn't it? I think it's kind of gonna be professional scouting because you're gonna drop the school of cavalry and you're just gonna go towards the professional scouts. I guess that's the play. Misty is gonna go up very soon as well. So there's 3 villages allow him to age up. So I think that I'm not really sure how he did it wrong, but he should have been out. He should have been going up for a while with this build. I feel he didn't have enough gold with 3 villages being attributed to the mining camps. I'm not really sure what kind of happened there, to be honest. Now he's gonna use all 3, by the way. It's kind of a new thing for me anyway, because he's not gonna have anything on gold for now. This obviously means that he has a lot of extra food and wood income, right? It's kind of the nice thing about playing it this way. So he's going to kind of give up the gold, which he doesn't need initially as he ages up. He's just going to get like the maximum possible income in terms of wood and food, which means that, of course, he will have a lot extra resources to spend on those archers and on those spearmen. I think that's kind of the play. He wants to get extra wood early to get the barracks up and just kind of, keep his opponent honest, you could say. I think that's kind of the best way of describing this. 4 villagers building for ML and 3 of them building for TheMista, by the way. So it's kind of going to be the distribution of villages in this particular game. And we're just going to wait for those players to kind of figure out what they want to do as they hit that feudal. It's going to be a little bit longer before they do that, of course. Yeah, it's just going to have to be that kind of early opening here. For the English, because he has a lot of resources. I think he's just gonna Okay, hello? Why is there a mill in this game for the English? Guys? Why would he go for that? Is it going to be like a very quick wheelbarrow? I can't think of anything else. Like, I don't think he's going to go for pro scouts, is he? Because against the French, he can't just kind of contest it too well, because obviously they make more scouts faster. They have faster upgrades, cheaper upgrades. Everything is just better and cheaper for the French in terms of the eco. So neither player is starting those pro scouts yet. I'm not really sure the purpose of this mill is, but I have no clue actually why it is here. Maybe the sheep numbers are just kind of messages judges then insufficient or something. He's just gonna go for it for a reason. So we see a single knight, by the way, and 2 scouts coming out from ML's base. Very late professional scouts for the French, but I think he just wanted to get some extra knights early on. I think that's kind of the purpose here. There's a spear and 3 archers for Mista to defend this knight, by the way, which is not going to do much at all. There's a second spearman actually coming through as well. So we see this kind of nice, stable play. By the way, a single villager left on gold, so this is all that MarineLord believes he needs. And the rest of those kind of forces, the rest of those villages are going to be kind of sent towards the food and the wood. So there's going to be mass production of the military units here. Those kind of cheap trash units like spearmen and longbows, and I think that's what is going to be the game plan for MarineLord. Sorry, for TheMista. Essentially, he's just going to go towards his opponent's base and try to find some damage. Obviously, French having this nice exposed gold are going to be quite a treat. I think it's going to be important for MarineLord to recognize this and maybe build a tower. He probably just started building the tower a while ago because he saw those forces, he saw the spears, he saw the archers. He knows he's not going to be able to contest it much longer, so it's also kind of unfortunate timing because he's about to finish that upgrade. Getting the professional scouts is gonna happen in 10 seconds. TheMista just kind of waltzes in right here. He's just gonna have enough to contest those there. He's not gonna do this though. He's just gonna wait for the villager, which is going to be very, very important because this means that the MarineLord is just gonna be able to snag some extra deer, of course, which is great for him. Now we're gonna see a tower rush for sure. Like there's going to be a tower built in those bushes over here, so he's gonna get that going for himself. Obviously allowing him to get some extra damage if he does back away towards this, right, and the tower does see the opponent's forces. He can also probably transition the tower somewhere else, maybe here, right, towards this side of the map or something. That could also be quite nice for him. He has so many villagers on wood actually, which would be indicative of the fact that he might want to go in towards the blacksmith alley. MarineLord already kind of have. I thought he had this actually, but he doesn't. There's actually kind of an important fight for the game, but what Mista doesn't what MarineLord doesn't see is there's going to be a tower joining the fray very soon. So there's going to be some extra firepower actually added towards those archers. Like I don't think that's entirely the best trade for ML. Sorry, for TheMista right now, because he lost quite a large portion of his units, but so did MarineLord actually, and those archers have been able to essentially eliminate all those archers of the MarineLord, also killing off a significant portion of this heavy cavalry. So a lot of knights fell, all the scouts fell as well, so the professional scouts are going to go to waste, I think. And right now it's just going to allow TheMista to advance towards MarineLord's base. So there is no blacksmith for MarineLord. There is no blacksmith for TheMista either, I think. That's what my hotkeys telling me. There is no blacksmith yet. So they're not going to get anything going for now, for time being anyways. There is nothing really happening. Those professional scouts are going to go to complete waste though, because there is just one scout on the map right now for ML, I think. One scout it is indeed. So I'm not really sure what it's going to accomplish, to be frank. There's another tower being dropped here, so it's going to obviously put some pressure on this cavalry. Like, without the blacksmith, I don't think you can do much, can you? As the English. So there's a question, right? Like, how exactly do you push? Like, how do you proceed as ML? Like, do you just kind of try to contain your opponent? Like, do you just kind of build extra towers around them, like, and kind of make circles? I think that's a viable strategy. We've seen this done by Vortex in the previous series against Hera, right? He's actually able to get like a lot of things done just by producing a lot of those units, just very, very early powerful units of the English, and then just kind of building towers. But what he started was essentially just building a tower in the economy of his opponent, right? So getting on top of this gold, of course, means that you're going to deny your opponent from constructing any sort of knights anymore. Of course, there's going to be a very, very valuable denial. And I'm not really sure, actually. I'm not really sure what they're gonna do from there. So I think all the wood that TheMista has right now is going to go all the way towards those towers. So he's not gonna have enough to construct a single blacksmith even. So he's gonna have to be working with what he has for the foreseeable future. Those archers, of course, getting a nice chunk of damage on the knight. He might actually lose the knight if he doesn't pay attention to it. He's going to lose this one right away. There are lots of spearmen, by the way, over here, so it is going to be quite a nice angle, by the way. Those knights from the back actually going to backstab those the villagers so that tower doesn't go up. So TheMista is fighting without any advantages in terms of the tower attack speed bonuses. There's 2 spears left only, or just 1 at this point. The 2 still are because there's 1 reinforcing. So the archer is gonna get cleaned up though. So this means that those spears are very, very efficient right now at fighting those cavalry units. And obviously this is a large number of archers as well. So you're gonna do quite well against heavy cavalry, like especially against like low-ish numbers of that. So the spears is just gonna pull full hero mode here, and those archers are kind of going to be able to trade effectively against that knight. So overall, nice trade for TheMista. I think again, I do not believe this is a good exchange for MarineLord. I think he keeps taking those kind of small, opportunistic fights where he doesn't quite know how much his opponent has. Yeah. I don't know what happened to this tower. I thought it went up, but actually has never gone up indeed. And I'm not really sure what you're gonna do. Do you send another villager? I think there's another one coming over here if you're TheMista, right? So he's gonna get that one going. There's another, by the way, he lost a villager. MarineLord did lose a villager before. So it's gonna be the second villager potentially going down. Not necessarily, actually. It doesn't quite happen. And there's actually going to be a charge onto those archers. So TheMista actually is instantaneously just gonna switch his target. So those archers are gonna target those archers' opponents so that, you know, his spearmen are safe. And right now, it's going to be quite an even trade, in fact, and there are just 2 archers left here, or 3 for MarineLord, so for TheMista, but he's going to get some nice reinforcements coming in, so another wave of units does actually show up. There's extra units coming all the time, and there has been no harassment, by the way, so MarineLord has not been able to find anything on the other side of the map. You really want to send like a single or 2 knights across the map to kind of put on some pressure on the English opponent. There is nothing actually happening on the side of MarineLord, so he's just kind of trying to use the single paw scout. Poor lad, actually, just to kind of get those deer back home, but he's not getting much done, is he? And MarineLord is actually going to lose a large portion of his food income this way because he has no available resources now at all. Now, Mist is actually also getting the tower. I'm not really sure if this is actually... No, it's not seen at all. So MarineLord absolutely oblivious of the fact there is a tower going up over here, which is obviously going to be a very large pain point. As it is going to probably complete before his own does. And actually there are archers who are going to deny those villagers from building anything, so this is actually going to be contested as well. There's like almost enough archers here to fit into the tower, so I think Mista is just going to recognize this, probably save the villager as well by walking away. Yeah, exactly, so he's just going to walk away, but this tower does actually complete for the French, so that's kind of the scary moment right now, because I don't think you can fight this with spearmen. There's too many units to actually dive the tower without a ram. And I don't actually see. Sorry about my voice breaking down. So I know how that happened, but there's actually going to be a blacksmith dropped as we speak. So that's what I was thinking. You need to have something to break the tower right now. A single villager falls, so this is not a safe place anymore for the villagers of MarineLord. But obviously, he has another gold available over here if he wishes to proceed there. No towers there yet, so obviously I think we would prefer to get some extra ones if you are playing the French here. 43 villagers to Mister's 38. What? I think it's just the French steroids, right? It's just kind of French have that extra construction rate for the villagers. And that harassment hasn't accomplished much yet. The problem is, of course, that this tower can deny the wood line as well, so those villagers have to move elsewhere. It's going to be extra resources spent, not too much, because 25 is enough for the French to build that. And also, these units get the extra bonus from that tower too, because, of course, network of the castle is going to be effective here. And yeah, the English are just going to kind of take this slow. I would generally speaking say that if there had been no fights, I think I would favor MarineLord heavily, because if you put critical numbers as the French against the English, I think you just instantaneously win a fight. But the critical numbers are not there, because MarineLord has been taking those smaller engagements, and he has been just kind of bleeding out resources and units. And yeah, that's the problem for him right now. He's not able to kind of get a hold of this game. He has not been in control for a while. Because he has had like so few units. Okay, so it's 15-15 for Mista, 15 spears and 15 archers. It's 5-11 for MarineLord, so it's actually a very small number of units here. Hello, blacksmith. Siege engineering is done, so it's gonna be siege rams very, very soon. I think Mista has just enough to build the first room, and he's just gonna go probably towards the 2 or 3 before he does actually dare to push in. Now this is actually very nice. That's what I really like to see, by the way, this kind of defensive placement of buildings for the French. So there's this kind of school of cavalry in the front, but all those kind of production buildings, like the archer engine in this case exclusively, is placed in the back, so it's not really likely that he loses those anytime soon. That's obviously very good. The small difference, by the way, for TheMista is like he has not been so oppressive because he has not been getting those arrow slits at all. He's just been consistently going towards that. He's been consistently just building those rams and units, right? He has never gone for the arrow slits, so there's no actual pressure from those towers themselves because they're not shooting any extra arrows, right? Which is kind of good for MarineLord, I think, because he's just gonna survive longer against that. So there are no like 3 or 2 sneaky villagers on stone. There is just basically just pure income and pure army built by TheMista. And honestly, like as this game kind of extends itself, I think it's going to slightly start favoring MarineLord, especially as he's getting the 2nd archery range right now as we speak, which is obviously going to mean that there's going to be more production, more archers, and those knights are going to be way more comfortable in the fights if the archer numbers go up. There's just one ram so far, by the way, not more than one, so it's going to be this tower going down without even ram being involved right now. Obviously, those auto-attack cancels are going to happen here for TheMista. He's going to move those units swiftly and just get rid of those piece of infrastructure for his opponent, which is obviously quite good. Looking at this game right now, so I need to kind of rearrange my position on the chair, so excuse me. There's going to be another tower drop, which is very important because, of course, if you're going to pick a fight, it's better to fight around your tower than away from it. This round is going to come towards the tower over here, and some villagers are going to fall, by the way. So this is the only available wood line, by the way, for TheMista. Sorry, for MarineLord. And if he loses this one, he's not going to have any wood income, which means he cannot produce any more archers. He has 600 wood in the bank, though, so I think he's just kind of preemptively getting that going. Now, this tower is very likely to fall because there's a ram here. Those are villagers being pulled, by the way. There are spears in the front line fighting this. And some of the villagers are obviously going to fall from MarineLord. He has a small advantage still in terms of villager numbers, so he's kind of comfortable doing this, I believe. TheMista, by the way, is getting stoned at this point, so he might just actually go towards the 2nd TC at some point, or he might just kind of start getting those arrow slit upgrades on those towers. I'm not really sure which one of that it is. I do wager it might be just kind of a triple TC build from TheMista at this point. Because I think he has still kind of numbers advantage on this map, so I do believe he might actually go towards that kind of greedy triple TC. You get this, and then you get King's Palace as a castle age landmark. I think this might be the thing that happens. But he's actually going to spend lots of that stone immediately, so he's actually getting arrow slits. I was wrong, right? So he's not gonna be greedy or anything. He's not gonna just kind of try to macro up behind this. He's actually getting arrow slits, and he's getting lots of stone mines, so he might actually eventually get the 2nd TC anyway. Because against the French, like, you have to shave off a lot of villagers to actually go even in terms of villagers, right? Because they just produce more. It's 54 to 50 right now, not a big difference at all. And obviously some of those villagers have been idle because they were forced to move around quite a bit. MarineLord, by the way, forced to move to this back position here. With those villagers, by the way, 2 scouts actually able to get some breathing room, and they're going to move back, and they're going to start getting those deer back home too. So there are 5 archers of MarineLord trapped in this tower, which is kind of good for him actually, because he's just going to be able to shoot some extra arrows here, and that's going to mean that obviously the defensive prowess of MarineLord is going to kind of allow him to last here longer. Obviously he's just trying to stall the game, I think, at this point, trying to kind of maybe get a better footing to the later fights. I do believe Mister's micro has been really on point though, so if he's able to just kind of assume control and just kind of keep pressuring his opponent, at some point he's just going to completely obliterate this game. I think he's just going to take this if he doesn't make any critical mistakes. Now, obviously, the same can be said about, like, I don't really sure. I think this is anybody's game. And those 4 villagers, by the way, falling is going to mean that actually TheMista is going to TheMista is going to be the one who assumes full control. He's going to take additional 4 villager kills. He has all the pressure in the world. The only problem, of course, are those 8 knights who are going to start pressuring the towers of TheMista, right? So TheMista is going to be forced to do something right now to maybe protect his infrastructure here. Obviously, those knights very, very steady right now with those upgrades. I think he has like the anti-arrow upgrade going right now, so kind of difficult to kill those guys. So I think it's going to be quite a difficult challenge if they go into your economy. Right now, they're just gonna stay at home, and they're just gonna defend, of course, because MarineLord is on the back foot for sure. So Mist is sitting on 125 supply, mostly of Trashins, but 55 villagers there to 56 villagers of MarineLord. So actually, the difference is not big at all. It's kind of insignificant. 1 villager is nothing. Now, Mista doesn't have wood to go up to 2TC, does he? So I'm not really sure what he's doing. He's producing units, that's the important part. He has 130 supply total, which is obviously huge. And look at the number of spirits. So those knights can never hope to find a good fight here. And those English archers are very good. Like, they're not good at those kind of direct hand on, like player-on-player engagements. Where they excel actually is when they're away and, you know, their opponent is actually disengaging, so those archers had to run eventually, and TheMista just finds some nice extra kills, so I think he comes up ahead in this small trade. This was massive armies, but very, very small trading overall. So it's, again, passive game right now. It's not big. There is literally nothing to talk about for me right now, because those guys are kind of playing slow and steady, right? They're just kind of sticking around the base, just kind of walking and trying to find a nice, pleasant angle, you could say, to find a good engagement. But I think the force numbers, the number of units for Mista is just super, super overwhelming. I think it's just 80-something supply in terms of military to 50, yeah, exactly. So it's going to be a painful thing to defend this for MarineLord, I think. He's going to bleed out another villager as well. This tower is probably dead to rise. There are so many pikes, there's so many spears, actually. You can see the numbers here. I think they could take on the archers at some point even. Like, that's just such a large force. And yeah, this is going to be probably the end of the game in one way or another. So Mista is going to look for an engagement here. Just going to try to absorb some extra archer fire with those archers, sorry, those spears of his. And yeah, it's just going to be a nice kind of disengagement actually. So TheMista does find two extra tower kills, I think, in the end. Maybe just one. He must have killed the other one before. He's just going to wait again. I'm not really sure what he's doing, to be honest, because maybe he's just going towards the maximum capacity. I'd really like to see him actually look for this wood line over here, because he must know that his opponent is still getting some wood from somewhere. So the only logical explanation is this wood line over here, of course, which is not scouted yet, so kind of unfortunate. You'd like to have a scout alive at this moment, I think, if you're TheMista, because then you can see a lot of things that, you know, your opponent is trying to hide. Like, I think if you can wedge your forces between this tower and here, you can really just kind of get a lot done, right? You can get a lot of, you can kill a lot of villagers, get a nice cleanup, and just kind of dominate the game later. There was villagers, actually those villagers are on the hunt for Mista. I'm not really sure how safe it is. It's probably not safe at all actually for those English villagers. But TheMista is working with a decent force. I'm not really sure if he's gonna get outscaled though. I think it might be just kind of the case of him getting outscaled. But TheMista does go up to castle right now, so he's gonna drop that TC at the King's Palace. He's gonna actually go up to castle. He's gonna go for the tier upgrade, which I think is going to mean that he's gonna back away a little bit, because he doesn't want to take the fight with the tech disadvantage or equal tech where he can have the advantage, right? So he wants to actually get ahead and then fight, I think. Which is fairly important to kind of mention, right? So he's probably just going to withdraw his forces for a while. This upgrade takes like a minute 30 or a minute, I think, to kick in. Yeah, a minute. It's full minute for those archers. For all the castle age upgrades, I think, is going to be a minute. So he might immediately fire up some upgrades, of course. Like, this is probably the most Mista thing to do. MarineLord also kind of very far away from getting any sort of tech up, by the way. He has very few resources to his name. And Mista is actually, as I said, getting the upgraded veteran spearman. He's going to get lots of men-at-arms as well. I'm not really sure why MAAs of all things. I guess MAAs it is. Weird. I have to say, like, of all things, I did not expect men-at-arms here at all. There's gonna be additional 30 seconds. I think he has to fight, actually. It's kind of unfortunate he left the towers behind, because he would have definitely just kind of stayed within the towers and he would have taken that fight there. I don't think he can take it right now. He has to just run away and lose some units. Maybe, right? Because there's actually a large number of spears though, so they can actually take this one quite nicely, but those archers have been thinned out quite significantly by MarineLord, actually, so this is not the greatest fight for TheMista at all. He has been in the driver's seat for the majority of this game, but right now he's bleeding out units left, right, and center. And this upgrade kicks in very late. He's actually, what he did wrong, he should have either stayed by the towers, you know, he should have just claimed the defender's advantage, or he could have just probably just kind of left, you know, just walked away very, very soon. And then he had taken this fight right now. He could have just let go of those towers, I think. That would have been the proper play. Obviously not really a big deal, because he still has more villages. He just cannot lose the game here. That's kind of the only kind of big disadvantage. He cannot lose the game. He just kind of stays alive here. It is still kind of a nice situation for him. He can't lose, but he can still obviously taking this trade has been consistently a terrible trade for him. Like, he lost most of his forces he bled out a lot of units. He allowed MarineLord to catch up in the supply somehow as well, which is ridiculous, I think. So not good at all. Mista is also sitting in a huge pile of stone right now, which he's not spending. He's actually going to be forced to defend. Is MarineLord going to take this game right now? Because he was... oh no! Oh, this is looking so dire actually for ML. I mean, for Mista, Mista has a lot of those knights, sorry, of those men at arms, right? Who are very, very steady. He has all the upgrades, I think, for them right now. Let me say. Yeah, he has every single the ironclad as well as theirs. He has like lots of defense here on those. They are very, very difficult to kill for like regular archers. I think they have like enough armor to just take 1 damage per shot. So they're very, very steady. As Mista needs to find something, right? He needs to find a nice angle with this mangonel, I guess, coming. But MarineLord is gonna get enough resources to go up himself. So I don't like this for Mista anymore. He's the master of throwing, man. He's like really bad at kind of looking for engagements here. So I'm just pouring myself some water. But he should have actually had this game in the... like, really, he could have just run away. He could have left those towers behind. Because he's gonna lose them now anyway, because he lost the major fight. But he really needed to do something. And he needed to just back away from the towers or just kind of defend them. There's no other way, he's just kind of completely through the game. I really cannot believe this right now, I cannot believe this at all, because I thought he had like every chance in the game to win, but he just... oh, he finds a nice engagement, he's gonna take some villagers down to his opponent, he's actually gonna take like 5 or 6, but he's gonna lose some spearmen in return. And of course this is good in as kind of a nice opportunity early, but for now... those men, I was like, look at them, they're taking 0 damage from those archers. Of course, it's kind of a good thing for MarineLord, so for the Mista, if he can just kind of find a direct engagement. But for now, he just has to wait for this mango. It's actually gonna reveal itself right now. He's gonna shoot against the archers right now. It should have actually shot right now by now. So it's actually going to force ML to back away. He needs to get some anti-artillery right now because he cannot just kind of fight this head on anymore. Which means he has to probably give up this position as well. So there are some additional men-at-arms who don't give a damn about the arrows because they're just so sturdy, right? There's also a siege workshop being dropped. So it's kind of a nice positive thing for MarineLord. Actually, he's just gonna get the siege workshop being siege workshop dropped right here. Which obviously means that he can afford quite a bit. And those men-at-arms are actually going to take a fight against this force. I don't really like this too much because of course they're not gonna trade evenly even, I think. They're not gonna get like anything done here. And this has been repelled as well to some extent. And Mista is in shambles. So this is done. He's gonna get a Springle now, I think. Yeah, Springle's gonna pop up as well. So he's gonna be like this nice defensive force. And somewhere, Sis is crying right now because the English are gonna have their asses kicked by. Again, it looked like an impossible game for MarineLord to win. He's just managed to make the impossible happen twice in a row almost. I cannot believe this. Look, there's a wall even though, so those guys cannot escape. They're not going to be able to leave this fight. So again, like MarineLord is going to take a lot of units down for free. And of course there's like a small offensive over here, but like what can you do against this? Like what can you do with this? Like there's a Springle tier that can actually take down the Mangonel. There's some extra proxy barracks being built, like opportunistically here, because there are no units of the opponents kind of attacking here. This Mango is going to be forced away by the Springle. It's not going to kind of kill anything for now. It's just kind of a nice thing. It's going to take the Mango is going to take a singular shot, by the way. It's not going to be entirely safe. It's going to probably require some repairs right now. 2 more shots dead, right? So obviously not the greatest thing in the world. But again, like it's going to be additional units lost for the Mista. Like these units are dead to rights again, so he doesn't have much to work with anymore. He has decent economy. He has 96 villages because he's been building consistently, right? MarineLord has only 67 because he's on 1 TC. I think Mista must have like 2 TCs or 3 even at this point, right? 1. And the King's Palace. So just 2. He's working with double TC. So still very good. I think he has a very nice economy. He just has to make sure that he doesn't bleed out too many units. I think he's going to be okay then. Because that's a large advantage in terms of the economy, right? He has a lot of villagers, he has lots of units, he's actually gonna get nice shots with the mangoes. Actually, no! It is terrible, terrible, terrible aim. And he's not gonna get much done here. Like, this shot doesn't do much, this shot doesn't do much. Those are actually kind of idle ones, idle mangoes. What is gonna happen actually, MarineLord is just gonna tap out because he sees the keep, actually, he sees he's gonna kind of lose the pressure in the end. And even though I think Mista threw the game to some extent, this is still a win for the English. This could have been such a nice game if Mista had just kind of waited, he had just kind of left, he had gone back to his own base, with those forces, just got the upgrades, got all the tech going, and just kind of gone through the map like again and taken that kind of direct GG fight. It never happened really. Look at this, like MarineLord essentially equalized the score here. Like he had so much more than his opponent, like so much more. And then he just kind of puts himself at a military disadvantage for like 3 minutes straight. And then he just kind of miraculously trades evenly in this game, just barely scratches out to win. So it's actually cool to see English win versus the French, right? Because generally speaking, this matchup doesn't favor the English at all, but still, I would say big question mark, because this could have been handled way better by MarineLord than it was, by TheMista than it was, because he had a very nice kind of organic way of winning the game, which he never actually utilized. Like he had just kind of this natural victory on his hands, but